we can see a big long number, 30,720. A lot of these numbers are 30,000, between 30,000 and 166,000 or whatever. So we see 90 slash and the number. The number is the result of this formula.
Oh, okay.
And this is least bandwidth and cumulative delay. Sorry. That makes more sense. 256 times 10 to the 7th over bandwidth plus delay. So, as delay gets higher, the metric gets higher. Lower metrics are always preferred. We can think about this simply in hop count. Lower hop count, more preferred, right? The fewer number of hops, the better the length. Same thing here. The lower this number, the better it is. So as delay goes up, you're just adding delay, the number goes up. As bandwidth goes up, this number gets smaller, because bandwidth is on the bottom of the fraction.
What's
right?
the 10 to the 7th?
It's a number.
Yes, it is.
It's 10 million.
But
1 million.
why is it there?
So it's kind of what we call a reference bandwidth. So it's based on like basically 1 meg or whatever. So we put it over bandwidth. So as bandwidth gets higher, if this is 100 meg, this becomes a small number. If this is 56K, this is a big number. It evens out so that the bandwidth is an inverse proportion, not a direct proportion. Because we want higher bandwidth to mean a smaller metric.
Yeah.
Right? That's why the 10 to the 7th is there.
Okay.
To create that. And so if we look, we see 90, which is what's called the administrative distance. We've talked about that before. What the administrative distance is it's a number that determines not only do we use the metric to determine the path that we take, but let's say we have both RIP and EIGRP. And we've got one path that uses RIP with a metric of 1, and we've got one path that uses EIGRP with a metric of 32,767. Those are incomparable numbers. I mean, they're comparable numbers, but you can't compare, if this was 15 hops away, and this had a metric of 32,767, which is probably only 1 hop away, because we can see from our chart, we can see things that are about 1 or 2 hops away have a metric of 32,000. We're going to prefer the 15 hops because it's a smaller number. No, they're incomparable. We can't compare them. So we don't. You can't run both RIP and EIGRP and expect to come up with a good number based on on the interworkings between the two. So we use administrative distance to take care of that. What administrative distance is it's a number that determines which routing protocol do we like best. And RIP has a high, and lower is better. And just I can't remember exactly the numbers, but I think it's a connected route is 0, right? If it's directly connected, we're always gonna use that. A static route is 1. If I override and apply a static route that says definitely go this way, we want to override everything else. EIGRP is 90, OSPF is 100, and RIP is 120. RIP is an old routing protocol that nobody likes and uses anymore because it's really deficient, so we're going to trust it less than the other ones. Just BGP is 20, and there's a bunch of others that don't matter so much anymore. But just so if you have both a path to get there via EIGRP and a path to get there via RIP, you're always going to prefer the EIGRP path. All of this we don't change it, but it's changeable. You can assign administrative distance. A reason we might do that, actually, is what's called a floating static route. So let's say we have a path that sucks. So we have this 56K link, right? And we have EIGRP here. And we don't want to run EIGRP over the 56K link because it'll use all the bandwidth, because EIGRP uses them, when it has to trade all its routes and stuff like that, it's pretty chatty. So we have, the 10 meg and 10 meg, and we run EIGRP over it. What we can do is we can set a static route here. But if we set a static route, it's always going to use the static route over EIGRP. So what we can do is artificially give it an administrative distance of 200, administrative distance of 200, so that if EIGRP fails, it uses the static route, but otherwise we use EIGRP. That's one reason that you might want to artificially change the administrative distance. We can see here the metric based on numbers